Sita's abduction. As Rama expected people of Ayodhya to visit Chitrakoota regularly to check for his welfare, he decided to leave the place immediately. Addressing Lakshmana and Sita, he said, "I have decided to move to far-off place from Ayodhya. So let us vacate Mount Chitrakuta and go towards Dandakaranya." Seeking the blessings of sages who lived there, Rama left the place and travelled to Dandakaranya. After several days, they reached the forest and met the sages who lived there. Heartily welcomed by the inhabitants of Dandakaranya, Rama stayed there along with Sita and Lakshmana for a few days. During his stay, he had come to know that the inhabitants largely suffered in the hands of evil demons. Promising to free them from their troubles soon, Rama took leave and proceeded further towards the ashram of sage Agastya. Sage Agastya extended a warm welcome to Rama and treated him with utmost care. Before Rama left his ashram, Sage Agastya blessed him wholeheartedly and gifted him a powerful bow. Wishing him luck, he said, "Rama, may you be victorious in all your endeavors. At a short distance from here, on the banks of river Godavari, build your ashram there and lead a peaceful life." Seeking the blessings of the sage, Rama, Sita, and Lakshmana proceeded in the direction mentioned by him. Panchavati was more beautiful than described. Building their ashram there, the trio led a happy and peaceful life. As days rolled by, one day Ravana's sister Shurpanaka visited Panchavati. As she was roaming in those surroundings, she happened to see Rama and Lakshmana. Taking an instant liking for the handsome young brothers, she immediately gathered details about them. Since the day of her visit to Panchavati, Surpanaka only thought of both the brothers. Unable to forget them, she disguised herself as a beautiful lady and approached Rama. She tried to lure Rama with her beauty and sweet words. But refusing to even look at her, Rama said, "O Surpanaka, I am a married man who took an oath to stay married only to one lady throughout my life. I would not think about any other woman except my wife Sita." Directing her towards Lakshmana, he said, "There stands my brother Lakshmana. Go to him and ask if he would accept you." Surpanaka turned towards Lakshmana with a hope that at least he would agree to marry her. She tried her best to lure him but failed to do so. As she continued to disturb him, annoyed by her, Lakshmana cut her nose and ears and threw her away from the ashram, dragging her by her hair. Greatly insulted by the brothers, Surpanaka ran with her bleeding nose and ears to her brothers Khara and Dushana. When she narrated them of her unsuccessful trials to win over both the brothers, they were enraged by the insult their little sister faced in the hands of mere humans. Gathering 14,000 Rakshasas, they went to attack Rama and Lakshmana. As Rama saw the huge army of Rakshasas, he went to counterattack them, instructing Lakshmana to take care of Sita. After a fierce battle, Rama killed the entire army, including Khara and Dushyana. Having lost her brothers in the battle, Surpanaka trembled with fear and went running to her elder brother Ravana to inform about all that had happened. As she narrated the fate of her brothers and the insults she faced, she also added about the beauty of Sita. She instigated Ravana against them and told him that Rama insulted her only because of his beautiful wife. Enraged to know the details from his sister, Ravana roared in anger. Comforting Surpanaka, he said, "Do not worry, dear sister. I would definitely avenge the insult you suffered. Within no time, I would get that Sita and imprison her in Lanka. Just wait and watch how your mighty brother would insult that Rama and his wife." Glad to be promised so, Surpanaka bowed to her brother and left his court. Ravana immediately made arrangements to reach Panchavati. He planned to capture Sita and get her to Lanka by battling with Rama. But on his second thought, as he heard that Rama was powerful enough to kill an entire army of his brothers, he decided to abduct her by deceit. Immediately, he summoned Maricha, one of his trusted subjects. He said, "Maricha, go at once to Panchavati and disguise yourself as a golden stag. I am certain that Sita would ask Rama to get the stag for her. While you engage Rama in the disguise of the stag, I would abduct Sita and carry her off to Lanka." As Ravana sketched his plan, Maricha, who already had an experience of confronting Rama, trembled in fear and replied, "Ravana, please do not entertain such dangerous thoughts in your mind. I have already suffered in the hands of Rama and hid in the sea with the fear of being killed by his powerful arrow. Do not invite unnecessary troubles for yourself." Annoyed by Maricha's comments, Ravana warned to kill him instantaneously if he refused to follow his orders. With no other option left, Maricha agreed to be a part of the plan. Disguised as a golden stag, he soon reached Panchavati. He roamed around Rama's ashram, attracting the attention of Sita. Unaware of its magical qualities, Sita sat engrossed looking at the beautiful stag. Soon she desired to own that stag. Approaching Rama, she showed him the golden stag and requested him to capture it. Refusing her plea, Rama said, "Sita, I suspect a foul play. Golden stags do not exist at all." Though Rama tried to convince Sita, enchanted by the beauty of the stag, Sita paid no heed to his words. She remained stubborn on her word and continuously requested Rama to get the stag home. Giving in to her request, Rama summoned Lakshmana and instructed him to take care of Sita in his absence. As Rama followed the stag, it ran away swiftly deep into the forest. Unable to capture it, Rama shot an arrow in the direction the stag ran. Shot by his powerful arrow, Maricha attained his real form and fell on the ground badly wounded. Yelling aloud, "Ha, Sita! Ha, Lakshmana!" Maricha fell dead instantaneously. Recognizing it to be intentional plan of some evil doer, Rama quickly walked towards his ashram. Meanwhile, Sita, who was waiting for Rama's return, heard the loud cries of Maricha. Mistaking it to be Rama's voice, she quickly ran to Lakshmana and asked him to go in rescue of his brother. Unaffected by the cries, Lakshmana replied, "Mother, no one can harm my brother Rama. This must be certainly an evil plan of some wicked Rakshasas. Be rest assured and wait for his return." Disturbed by Lakshmana's complaisance, Sita accused him and ordered him to go in search of Rama at once. Following her orders, Lakshmana took his bow and arrows and moved out of the ashram. Before he left, he drew a line in front of the ashram and said, "Mother, I have drawn this line for your safety. Under no circumstances should you cross this line." Cautioning her repeatedly, Lakshmana rushed into the forest searching for Rama. As soon as he was gone, Ravana, who was waiting for the opportunity, disguised himself as a saint and stood before Rama's ashram. "Mother, please give me some alms," he said, addressing Sita. On hearing his words, Sita returned to the entrance of the ashram with alms and requested him to accept them. When Ravana tried to cross the lines drawn by Lakshmana, huge flames rose from the ground and stopped him from proceeding further. Noticing the powerful security lines drawn on the ground, Ravana said, "Please come to me and offer me the alms." As Sita stood there hesitating, Ravana acted angry and warned her that he would return from that ashram empty-handed, as it would be a sin to send away a hungry man without giving alms. Sita immediately crossed the line hurriedly without a second thought. In a flash, Ravana assumed his normal form, pulled out the piece of earth where she was standing, and moved towards his chariot, which was stationed in a distance. He placed Sita along with the earth on his chariot and rose into the sky immediately. Recovering from the shock, Sita realized that she was being abducted and shouted the name of Rama helplessly. Though Rama, who was down below on the earth, could not hear her cries, Jatayu, the mighty bird king, heard her. Deciding to rescue her from Ravana, Jatayu flew towards Ravana's chariot and confronted him. After a fierce battle between both, Ravana cut Jatayu's wings with his sword. Losing both his wings, Jatayu dropped to the ground helplessly. As Sita lost the hope of being rescued, she removed her ornaments, packed them in a piece of cloth torn from her saree, and dropped them to the ground. She did so with a hope that Rama would know that she passed through that place if he found her jewels. The packet she dropped fell straight on a mountain named Rishyamukha, which was inhabited by monkeys. By the time the monkeys lifted their heads to see the person who had dropped the jewels, Ravana's chariot swiftly crossed the mountain, leaving the monkeys with no clue about Sita's abduction. Soon, Ravana reached Lanka, imprisoned Sita, in Ashoka garden, leaving her amidst tight security.